Ever wondered why we say the police arrested the thief, but sometimes we say the thief was arrested by the police? Both are correct. But why do we choose one over the other? So this is what we are going to talk about in this video today. I'm going to teach you the difference between active voice and passive voice. I wish somebody could have explained it to me the way I'm going to explain it to you today. It's so super easy and crisp. You're going to love it. And this concept will never be a problem again. If you're a college going student, if you are a school going student, if you are a teacher, if you are anybody who's a professional, anyone, this video is important for each and every one of you. And not just active and passive voice and what they are. I'm going to teach you the different types of sentences, how to transition between active and passive voice for each of those types of sentences. So there are 5 types of sentences that I'm going to teach you. And in each of these 5, I'm going to teach you the rules, of course with examples, of course with the world's best explanation like I always do. No, but I really do. I try my best, and that's why you like it. I know you do. That's why you're watching it. So anyway, I'm going to teach you all the types of sentences that there are, and then how you can change between active and passive voice. What is the importance of each? Why do we use active sometimes and passive sometimes? And why, when passive has to be used and instead you use active, the meaning of the sentence goes for a toss, or the weight of the sentence is lost. Share your score with me in the comments. Active and passive voice aren't just grammar. They shape the way our sentences sound. Active voice talks facts and helps maintain clarity, but passive adds drama. Yes, it does. I'll tell you how. It helps us sound formal. It helps us sound polite and shift the focus from who did something to what was done. So when the thing that is being done or has been done is more important than the person doing it, that's when you use passive voice. Just wait for another minute and what I just said will make all the sense to you. Okay, observe these sentences. The assassin stabbed the emperor. The emperor was stabbed by the assassin. They discovered the murderer. The murderer was discovered. The court sentenced him to death. He was sentenced to death by the court. Okay, let's talk about what active voice is. Active voice is when subject does the action, and the structure looks like something like this. Subject plus the verb plus the object. Okay, the teacher explains the lesson. Now here, as you can observe, we're just simply talking about teacher explaining the lesson. Here, teacher is the doer and the voice is active. Active voice focuses on the doer and not the receiver. Okay, and also when the action is not of much importance. Don't miss this section where I teach you the exceptions. That is really important, but exceptions lie towards the end. Okay, because half knowledge is dangerous and I don't want my students spreading misinformation. She sleeps peacefully. Peacefully is slept by her. Now we come to what passive voice is. Now this is more interesting. This is my favorite part of the video. Passive voice is when the subject receives the action. So we are more focused on the action. In the first part, active voice, subject was the doer. In the second one, subject is the receiver of the action. And this is how the structure looks like. Object plus the helping verb plus the past participle, which is also called V3. Okay, the third form of verb, plus by subject. The lesson is explained by the teacher. Here, if you notice, the focus has shifted. The lesson in the sentence is receiving the action of explanation, which is being done by the subject, which is teacher in this case. Again, don't miss the exceptions to the structure towards the end of the video lesson. Okay. Now here's the golden rule to identify active versus passive. Ask yourself, who is the doer? If the subject is the doer, it is the active voice. If the subject is the receiver of the action, it is the passive voice. The cake was eaten by John. Who is the subject here? The cake is the subject. We're talking about the cake. The cake was eaten by John. Now, did the cake do anything? No, it received the action. And that is why this is passive. You get it? Let's try with one more. The treasure was discovered by the sailors. Who is the subject here? The treasure is the subject in the sentence, right? Did the treasure do anything? No, it just got discovered, right? It didn't do anything. It received the action of discovery. That means it is the passive voice. Okay, now comes the very important section of when to use active and when to use passive voice. Active voice is best used for everyday conversations. It is best used for storytelling, for clear, strong writing. Example, she solved the problem quickly, direct and powerful, right? Okay, so when do we use the passive voice? Passive voice can be used when the doer is unknown. Okay, the window was broken. My wallet was stolen. We don't know who did it. We don't know who stole the wallet. We don't know who broke the window, right? The doer is unknown. That is when you use the passive voice. Or you use it when the doer is not important. For instance, English is spoken worldwide. This road is used every day. Here, we are not concerned with who is speaking English. Okay, we're just talking about a general fact that English is spoken worldwide. The doer is not important here. Who's speaking the language is not important. The road is used every day. Who is using the road is not important for this sentence. And that is why this is use case number 2. That is when you use passive voice. Use case number 3. You want to sound formal. The matter was discussed at length. Guests are requested to take their seats. Again, guests, if you notice, are the subject of the sentence and they are receiving the action of getting requested, being requested, and they are receiving the action of being requested to take their seats. Okay, so trying to sound formal, use passive voice. Now comes the very interesting part where we talk about the transformation tricks. How you convert a sentence from active voice to passive voice. Okay, and here's my 4-step trick. Very simple. First, you swap the subject and object. It is also called the rule of X, by the way, but let's just call it swapping. Okay, you take the subject, you take the object, and you change their positions. All right, then you add the correct helping verb. Helping verbs are words like is, was, has been. Okay, helping verbs are also called auxiliary verbs. These are verbs that help the main verb to fit in the sentence correctly. Okay, is, was, actually they don't sit in the definition of the word verb, which is kriya, where an action is being done. But you cannot form a sentence without using these words. Helping verbs are absolutely essential for a sentence. I know state of being is a state of being and it fits the definition there, but you get the point, right? You understand what I'm trying to teach you here. There is no action getting performed, but you can't finish the sentence unless you use a helping word, a fitting helping verb in the sentence. They do not carry full meaning on their own, but they support the main verb. She is writing a letter. Here the helping verb is and the main verb is writing. You cannot say it as she writing a letter. She is writing a letter, right? That's what completes a sentence. So helping word placed with the main verb finishes the sentence. They have finished the work. Now here, helping verb is have and main verb is finished. Okay, he does not like coffee. Slightly confusing. Helping verb is does and the main verb is like. He does not like coffee. Coming to my point number 3, change the main verb to past participle, what you use in a passive voice. Okay, add by, this is 4th step. Add by if it is needed. So here are your 4 steps. And now we will convert a sentence from active to passive using this 4-step process. This is your active sentence. She writes a letter. Step number 1, swapping the subject and object. Letter and she. So letter was object. She was the subject. We swapped the places. So it becomes the letter. Okay, what was at the end comes towards the first part of the sentence. Okay, they switch positions. The letter. Step number 2, adding the helping verb, which is the letter is. Because the sentence is in simple present tense. That is why we use the helping verb is. Okay, and don't worry. I have a table for you. It will appear the moment I finish these 4 steps. Okay, step number 3. Past participle is what you place next. The letter is written. Written is the past participle of the verb write. Write, wrote, written. Right? Okay, so this write is R-I-G-H-T. Okay, moving on. Step number 4, the last one. Add by. The letter is written by her. Let's try with one more sentence. The cat is chasing the mouse. Step number 1, you swap mouse and cat. Okay, you swap the subject and the object of the sentence. Mouse and cat switch places. Step number 2, adding the helping verb. The mouse is being, because this is present continuous tense. The cat is chasing the mouse in the moment, present continuous. And that is why the helping verb here will be is being and not just is. Okay, it's an action that is ongoing. Step number 3 is putting the past participle. The mouse is being chased. And step number 4, add by. The mouse is being chased by the cat. So by subject of the original sentence. The mouse is being chased by the cat. Here's a table that you should take a screenshot of. Now this table contains the tense along with the helping verb that will go with every tense. Okay, please take a screenshot. Take the helping verb from the chart and put your V3, which is the past participle of the verb. Now here are your 5 types of sentences. We'll start with the assertive sentences, that is the statements. These are simple statements that declare something, positive or negative, either ways. Now here's your active. They completed the project. This is an assertive sentence. It is a simple statement. They completed the project. How will you make it into passive? The project was completed by them. Simple rule that I just taught you a moment ago. You swap the subject and the object, you put the helping verb, you put the past participle, and you put the by with the subject of the original sentence. Assertive sentences are the easiest to convert because they follow the standard SVO OVS rule. Subject, verb, object, simple, object, verb, subject. That is the rule of X, if you remember. Let's take one more sentence. The teacher praised the student. The student was praised by the teacher. Next is interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences are the ones that ask questions. Interrogative sentences are questions. These are questions. They begin with a question word like who, what, when, where, or a helping verb like is, do, can. Let's take up an example. Active sentence. Who wrote this book? How will you make it into passive? By whom was this book written? Now here the challenge is keeping the question word at the beginning while adjusting the verb placement. So you keep the question word in the beginning. Always remember that for interrogative sentences. Okay. When will they announce the results? When will the results be announced? So we keep the question word in the beginning, that is when, and then we adjust the verb placement. Announce becomes announced and it comes towards the end. Alright, next one is imperative sentences. These are commands, these are requests. Okay, when you give orders or you make a request or you give instructions, that is when you use imperative sentences. They often start with a verb. Okay, close the door. It's an instruction. Close the door. How will you make it into passive? Simple. Let the door be closed. The trick is very simple. Use the formula let plus object plus be plus V3. V3 is the past participle. Remember that, okay? The last form of a verb. Past participle form of the verb. Let object be past participle to make an imperative passive. Okay, I'll show it to you in a sentence. Write your name on the paper. I'm giving an instruction. Write your name on the paper. Put let in the beginning and then you put object. Okay, let your name be written on the paper. Written is the past participle of write. Okay, let your name be written on the paper. Next is negative sentences or statements with not. These simply deny or negate something. Take up an example. She did not finish the work. What is the passive form here? The work was not finished by her. He did not answer the question. The question was not answered by him. And the last is your modal verbs. Modal verbs, what are they? A quick recap for you. I'm sure you've done this with me in some of my previous videos maybe, but a quick recap. Modal verbs are special helping verbs that show possibility. They show ability, permission, necessity, or obligation. Common modals are can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would, okay? Jogging up your memory here. These are sentences with modals like can, should, must, may, might, will, would. You get it. Here's an active sentence for you. You should follow the rules. Should. Obligation, right? You should follow the rules. What will it be in passive voice? The rules should be followed. You must complete the homework. The homework must be completed. So the modal remains the way it is. All right. Now comes the interesting part where we take up a practice quiz. It's short, but it's fun. So do take it. Okay. Now here's your turn. You have to change these sentences into passive voice with me. I'll start with the first one, which is he paints the wall. Next one is they complete the task. Let's try a trickier one. Of course, I will give you the answers. Don't worry. But let me just quickly display the question and then we'll take up the answers one by one. Who broke the vase? Open the gate. I taught you the rule for imperative sentences, right? Open the gate. She is writing a poem. Now, your timer starts. 5 seconds. Okay, the first one. The wall is painted by him. The task will be completed by them. Who broke the vase? By whom was the vase broken? Now, this was the confusing one. You remember you had to start with by, you had to start with the question word, and who becomes whom here. Again, I've made a very nice video on this topic, when to use who and when to use whom. You loved it. I'll give you a quick jog of your memory. Simple. When the answer is in the shape of him or her, you use whom. And when the answer is in the shape of he or she, that's when you use who. If you see this sentence, by whom was the vase broken? The answer could be very simple. The vase was broken by her. And that is why whom is the fitting word here. Moving on. Let the gate be opened. Remember, imperative sentences, the passive voice will use let in the beginning. A poem is being written by her. How many of these did you get right? Let me know your score below. Okay, I've got 2 more for you. Here, you will have to change from passive to active. Okay, the first one. The puzzle has been solved by her. She has solved the puzzle. Simple. Spanish is taught here. They teach Spanish here. See, Spanish is taught here is a more natural way of speaking. And that is why mastering both active and passive voice is important, because that's how you sound natural and you sound more effective, okay, with your language skills. Spanish is taught here. We are not concerned with who is learning Spanish. We're just concerned with the fact that this language is being taught here. And that is why passive voice is important to be learned. Let's quickly revise. Active voice, subject does the action. Passive voice, the subject receives the action. Avoid common mistakes and practice daily. That's the only way you can get it right every time. So next time you hear someone say the homework was done by the students, you'll know exactly how that sentence was built. Now I want you to convert this sentence from passive to active voice. Can you do that? The meal was cooked by the chef. Happy learning, and remember, practice makes perfect.